Hello, my name is Duke DeLuca, and I'm the Commandant of the U.S. Army Engineer School and Regiment. And I'm here to say happy birthday. Happy birthday to the Army, and happy birthday to the Engineer Regiment, and of course, getting ready to say happy birthday to our own country. Of course, the Army is a year older than our nation. And without the Army, the American Army, there would be no United States of America. And so it's a time of great celebration. Our history as a regiment goes back to the very earliest days of our Army, when Colonel Gridley took over as the first engineer to lead the engineer effort and advise the maneuver commander. He was certainly not the first engineer to advise maneuver commanders, because engineering has been a part of warfare since the dawn of organized violence in our societies. Fires and engineers were the first two enablers, and still are two of the most important enablers to our Army maneuver forces today. The regiment is very proud of its history, begun in the battles outside Boston, and continuing to this day with our forces that are in contact with the enemy in Afghanistan. We'll take time this year to celebrate our fantastic Army, its amazing contributions, not just to the existence and the development of our country, in which the Engineer Regiment has played a particularly special role, but also the impact to the wider world. Our Army has changed more nations and the global society in a way that no other single organization has done. It's time that we thought about that, considered it, and celebrated it as part of our Army celebration. The engineers, of course, helped the country expand across the continent. So the politics, the geography, the economics of our country have been incredibly influenced by a very tiny portion of the population and of the size of the Army, the Engineer Regiment. In many cases, our commercial society has been enabled to thrive because of the efforts of the Army Corps of Engineers, clearing waterways for commercial traffic, bringing goods and services from the interior of the country to the ports, and of course, servicing and maintaining and developing those ports so we could be the world's largest international trader in the world. It is a tremendous legacy, mapping the country, developing its economics, and enabling the growth, political and economic and military. And it makes me very proud to be an Army engineer for that reason. Of course, our Army itself has had an outsized impact, not just to the existence of our country, its security over the years, and its influence around the world. It has had a tremendous impact to the globe. The U.S. Army has influenced more nations and peoples for the good than any other single human organization that has ever existed. It's one of the reasons I am so proud to be an American soldier, and still am an American soldier, and will stay one as long as the Army will let me. So much is owed to the people who serve in the Army and in the Army Engineer Regiment, to be sure. And so, as we celebrate this year, I'll be thinking of all of you and thanking you for your service, thinking about the tremendous role that you play, not just in our revolution and the development of our country, but even today in Afghanistan. And I'll be thinking about the families that support us and enable us to do our work on behalf of the nation to influence the globe. Thank you very much, and happy birthday.
Non-commissioned officers are the backbone of our Army. We have an absolute responsibility as leaders to take care of our soldiers and their families. We are to mentor, coach, train, and ensure that our soldiers get the absolute best that we can give. As our Army goes through changes, the leadership does not. Neither does the responsibility as a non-commissioned officer to those soldiers and their families. It is extremely important that our leaders understand their role when it comes to doing their job and to being part of this profession of arms. The Army is not a job, it is a profession. And when you look at it as a profession and you do what you should do as a leader in the Army, your soldiers will respect you and they will care for you just as much as you care for them. When you retain a soldier, you don't just retain that soldier, you retain the family as well. Our regiment is an extremely important part of this Army. As engineers, we have a role and a responsibility that goes back in time from long ago up to now and in the future, to be the professional enlisted engineers and the professional role models of the enlisted soldiers, to train them in what they do, to be better, stronger, and faster, as you used to hear in the cartoons. It's not a cartoon. This is an important part of our job. The profession of arms not only talks about the Army, but it talks about our role in the regiment. Our role in the regiment as leaders is to take care of the Army and our piece of the pie. Training, manning, equipping, and ensuring that the right skill sets are on the battlefield doing what we should do. We have a responsibility for making sure that our Army is able to get to where they're supposed to go, that our BCTs are able to accomplish the missions that are set about for them. That's the role of an engineer. The future of our regiment is very bright. And as we transform this military and reorganize the structure, the engineer role will not only get bigger, but it'll get brighter. We will be doing things that we haven't done since we've transformed, and being able to put the right skill sets in the right place at the right time to assist our brigade combat teams in accomplishing their mission and being a more agile and better prepared force on the battlefield. Our engineers are an extreme part of doing what we need to do for our regiment. We respect you and we expect you to do what is required of you as a professional in this Army, in this profession, and do your best at it. Our future is bright, and we look forward to having you in it and keeping you in it as much as possible. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chief Warrant Officer 5, Scott Owens, the United States Army Engineer School and Regiment's Regimental Chief Warrant Officer. Today, as we begin to reshape our regiment to meet the requirements for Army 2020, I'd like to share with you some key thoughts about Engineer Warrant Officers, a little of our history, our current roles in the Army and Engineer Regiment, and our future as Army professionals. Summer 2012 marks a number of important birthdays. The U.S. Army and Engineer Regiment both celebrate their 237th birthdays in June, and the Army Warrant Officer Corps celebrates its 94th anniversary officially on July 9th. Army Warrant Officers have evolved from the Army Mine Planner Service in 1918 to today's Warrant Officer program. Today, Warrant Officers make up 2% of the Army and nearly 17% of the Officer Corps, serving in 17 Army branches with unique military occupational specialties. And within the Engineer Regiment, we have 2 Warrant Officer specialties, 120 Alpha, Construction Engineering Technician, and 125 Delta, Geospatial Engineering Technician. The 120 Alpha Construction Engineering Technicians trace their roots to World War II, with the creation of the Utilities Maintenance Officer, MOS 7120, in 1943. In 1948, the Construction Engineer Warrant MOS 7110 was added. These and other related Engineer Warrant Officer MOSs continue to evolve, expand, and contract over the next 67 years to meet the Army's needs until they merge into one MOS, the Utilities Operations and Maintenance Technician, 210 Alpha. Finally, in 2010, the MOS was redesignated as 120 Alpha, Construction Engineering Technician, to more effectively encompass the major shift in the MOS's core mission, thus bringing it full circle back to its 1943 roots, construction engineer. Today, 120 Alphas serve in a variety of assignments, from vertical platoons, prime power units, survey and design detachments, deployable medical system hospitals, and even command firefighting detachments. Geospatial engineering technicians trace their roots to 1943 and World War II as well, in MOS 7915, Topographic Engineer, and 8502, Aerial Photographic Officer. Over the years, additional MOSs were created and deleted, along with various name changes. These included the Photo Mapping Technician, Map Pre-Production Technician, Cartographic Technician, Terrain Analysis Technician, Geospatial Information Technician, and finally, the single MOS we have today, 125 Delta Geospatial Engineering Technician. Today, Geospatial Engineering Technicians serve from Brigade Combat Team through Division, Corps, ASCC, Combatant Command, and Joint levels. They are the Army's technical and tactical experts in terrain analysis and geospatial information services, providing data, products, and analysis for use in Army mission command systems to aid commanders and staffs in visualizing the terrain and understanding its impacts upon friendly and enemy operations. Both Engineer Warrant Officer MOSs have seen significant growth over the past few years, which is a testament to the capability they provide the Army and to the professionalism of their predecessors who laid the foundations for this growth. Warrant officers have long been known as the silent professionals because they are technically competent and they can be counted on to get the job done. The Army Profession Campaign gives us an opportunity to reflect on the characteristics of warrant officers and where we are going as we transition to Army 2020 in this profession of arms. I'm often asked what exactly is the role of the engineer warrant officers and how do they fit in with regular commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers. A warrant officer is first and foremost a soldier, an officer, and finally the Army's technical expert in their chosen field. Warrant officers are commissioned and fill unique roles that regular commissioned officers cannot. They are able to focus their entire career on building and improving upon their tradecraft. By virtue of their enlisted background, education, and experience, warrant officers are leaders and trainers of leaders, and they assist in mentoring, guiding, and developing the lieutenants and soldiers in their units. They serve as the commander's technical expert, providing valuable skills, advice, guidance, and expertise, and they ensure quality control in their organization. Our 38th Chief of Staff of the Army, General Ray Odierno, said trust is the bedrock of the Army profession. For the Warrant Officer Corps, that is especially true. For 94 years, warrant officers have earned the trust of commanders, staff officers, NCOs, and enlisted soldiers, and have proven themselves as the professionals they've long been held to be. As we reset the Engineer Regiment to ensure the Army has the capability it needs for Army 2020 and beyond, I charge you, current and future Army Engineer Warrant Officers, to continue the chain of trust that our predecessors have earned, because you are the stewards of the Army's future Warrant Officer Corps. And from my seat, the future is in great hands. A seance.